change from the first leg, with on loan Jason Jarrett replaced by on loan Marcus Stewart. Giant Jamaican Claude Davis swept the board at the club's Player of the Year awards. Preston had the best defence in the Championship. David Nugent scored at Ellen Road after his quick recovery from a broken metatarsal. The gamble paid off. Chris Sedgwick turned an ankle in the warm-up, so Matt Hill comes onto the bench. Leeds make 2 changes from the first leg. Jonathan Douglas for Eric Backer and Frazer Richardson for David Healy. Healy, an ex-Preston player, so too Richard Cresswell, who's also on the bench. And the connections continue. Former Deepdale favourites Sean Gregan and Eddie Lewis are in from the start. Sean Derry passed a late test, but skipper Paul Butler is injured. Intriguingly, there's no sub-keeper. Matt Kilgallen would take the gloves if necessary.
Well, the one thing Billy Davies does is look at that back line of his, that back 5, and he knows that they're all pretty well decent. He looks at those middle 2, Mawene and Davis. They're only going to handle one player in Rob Hulse tonight, but they pick up the runners from midfield, and they do that very, very well. In midfield, O'Neill's the one. He'll keep them ticking over. McKenna joining in the front when he can, but Marcus Stewart, will he push on to Sean Derry? I'm sure that's the reason why he's been brought in tonight, just to play in front of them, which will allow the front 3, Nugent, Dicchio and Ormerod, to push right onto the back 4 of Leeds. Kevin Blackwell, he knows it's eyes level, there's no rush, keep everything together, keep it all settled. Gregan and Kilgallen played very well in the first leg. He'll be expecting exactly that from them. Again, Derry is that one who just sit in front of them and be the screen because of those 3 strikers. Try and pick up all the little bits in there. Douglas and Miller to join in with Hulse at every opportunity. Richardson comes in on the right hand side. Maybe that's the reason, because of lack of crosses in the first leg, that Lewis and Richard didn't provide. Leeds didn't provide, so maybe tonight those are brought in to give Hulse some service.
David Nugent made his mark in the first leg after a miraculous recovery from a broken metatarsal. But Eddie Lewis picked his spot at Ellen Road with a top-notch free kick against his old club. For one of the managers tonight, sheer delight. For the other, total despair. For these men, the playoffs are a form of torture.
Well, it's experience, isn't it? You can tell Billy Davies has been there before. He looks relaxed and confident, whereas Kevin, a little bit nervous. It doesn't count for anything at all, because it's the game that counts.
The referee, Mick Thorpe, is about to get us going. For one of these teams, their season will end tonight. For the other, the playoff final awaits. The Premiership will beckon a little bit more. Here we go then. Preston North End against Leeds United. 90 minutes, 120 minutes, penalties, whatever it takes. Leeds have had some very troubled times. They're on the road to recovery, but will they be on the road to Cardiff? And even the road to the Premiership. Kilgallen for Hulse. Helped on by Marcus Stewart to Brett Ormerod, who had a loan spell at Leeds last season. Alexander. Ormerod. Here's Stewart, who has a fair bit of playoff experience with Sunderland and with Ipswich.
He's a master at finding space. That's what they'll try and do tonight at every opportunity. Marcus Stewart is just get in the holes, get in the positions where he can be found.
Alexander. It's away by the former Preston captain, Sean Gregan. McKenna, Alexander, here's Brian O'Neill with a bit of room to manoeuvre.
Why not? You never know. He's unhappy with himself because he doesn't strike it well, but as you said in commentary there, Ian, he's got space, he's got time. He's well marshalled in the end. Derry and Gregan.
Well, Preston have lost 2 playoff finals in the last 5 years. Will it be third time lucky for them? Can they return to the Millennium Stadium to right the wrong? They lost to West Ham last year. Of course, West Ham themselves had lost the previous year's playoff final. The balloons posing problems for Neil Sullivan. And Mick Thorpe's first real job here is to sort out the beach balls and the balloons. What Neil Sullivan was going to take his goal kick with that for a moment. This is no ordinary game, it's no ordinary night. It's the playoffs, and they can be truly extraordinary. Nugent, Kilgallen in the way. Gary Kelly has Brett Ormerod chasing him. Ormerod's quick throw for Stewart, who's trying to barge his way through, and he's, well, it looked like it might have been a corner, but it's a goal kick.
Marcus Stewart, the role that he's playing is going to cause Leeds loads of problems. They're not sure where he's going to turn up. Is he going to be in space in midfield? Is he going to be wide on the left-hand side? Is he going to join in with the front with Dicchio, swap him with Ormerod? Very clever for Billy Davies, give them a problem.
Davis won that, he's won quite a bit this season, on by Dicchio to Ormerod, who once again is going to hound Kelly. This time though, Kelly gets the throw.
That's a good thing about Preston. When you watch them all season, they don't have a player that shirks anything at all. A challenge, a run. The manager demands 100% commitment, and they get it.
Well, the Championship is already looking hard at work next season, with whoever misses out in the playoffs joining the likes of Birmingham, West Brom, Sunderland, Wolves, Norwich, Leicester, Southampton. This would be a good time to get out. And Ken Bates is hoping he will be in a few Premiership boardrooms again next season. Quite like to go back to Chelsea, that's for sure, Mr. Bates. Stewart.
Well, they dominated possession. Less than 5 minutes played, but made their intentions clear, Preston.
Sean Berry, who passed a late test after hobbling out of the first leg. Stephen Craney. Well, when he lets it drop, Davis behind him. The two of them have been outstanding in the heart of Preston's defence this season. This is Liam Miller, on loan from Manchester United. Billy Davies is raging with the assist, and he thought it had gone out. Lewis whipping it in. Here's Brett Ormerod, who typifies Preston's work ethic. He's been nastily tackled by Jonathan Douglas.
It's a real nasty one on the ankle for Brett Ormerod. He could be in trouble with that. Really takes him out. Just watch him. Douglas coming in from that right-hand side of him, and bang, his ankle crumples underneath him. Could be a twist.
Ormerod in absolute agony, and it was a bad one by Douglas, which might have warranted a card if it had come later in the game. Not many of the managers involved in the playoffs have been happy with the referees so far, and of course there were two key decisions in the first legs of both semis. Ewan Mulwenny got away with an early challenge on Matt Kilgallen at Ellen Road on Friday, and Che Demerit got away with hauling down Clinton Morrison at Selhurst Park on Saturday.
Well, he is after the ball, Douglas, no doubt about that, but the way he comes in, he twists his ankle Brett Ormerod, he'll be lucky to stay on there. You see it dig into the ground there.
Well, they do have young Simon Whaley on the bench, and Patrick Agyemang as well there. But Billy Davies won't want his best laid plans to change so early. Ormerod does give them so much with his work rate.
Be surprised if he comes back from this. Very surprised. And there's a signal there.
Yes, Brett Ormerod's game would appear to be over, and Preston, who lost Chris Sedgwick in the warm-up when he twisted an ankle, are going to bring on Simon Whaley now. The stretcher has been called for Ormerod. Whaley, like David Nugent, came from Bury. Billy Davies has an uncanny ability to pluck players from the lower league who seem to make the step up admirably. He's got a bit of zip and a bit of pace as Whaley. If he turns out to be half as successful as Nugent has been here, then Preston will have another bargain.
He's been brilliant the last few weeks. Certainly in April he scored 3 goals in that month, and it's a very good young talent.
Brett Ormerod, on loan at Leeds last season, caught by a man who's on loan at Leeds this season in Jonathan Douglas, on loan from Blackburn, and a lengthy delay, and it looks like a bad injury for Ormerod. He's a vastly experienced Ormerod, whereas Whaley is merely 20 years of age. He did start a few games during the run-in whilst Nugent was out injured, of course.
He's got a decision now. Does he keep the same tactics? And does he let Nugent go up alongside Dickio and change it to a 4-4-2? Interesting to see.
It's a sorry sight for Brett Ormerod. Ormerod was hoping to return to the Millennium Stadium where he played for Southampton in an FA Cup final. But if Preston do make it, he will surely be a big doubt. One of the game's great competitors is going off. But on comes vibrant youth in the shape of Simon Whaley, who scored in the last 3 away games of the ordinary season. Now, David Nugent only cost £100,000 from Bury, but when Billy Davies knocked on their door again, I think they decided to up the fee this time, and Whaley cost over double that.
Well, they're both bargains. 200,000 for that lad is a bargain, that's for sure, and everybody knows that Nugent is now worth he's £1 million man. It looks as if Whaley's going to play on the right. Nugent switched to the left hand side.
Well, there was a 5-minute delay whilst Ormerod was down. So there'll be a fair bit of stoppage time on what already promises to be quite a long night anyway at Deepdale. Long, tense and exciting. Stephen Craney will take this throw. Rob Hulse's target, Mulwinny is with him. Knocked on by Brian O'Neill, now Marcus Stewart. Stewart has picked out Nugent. Stewart involved again, Dickio ahead of him. Here's Paul McKenna, who spent his entire career with Preston. Davies, Nugent. Alexander for McKenna. Preston looking to regain some rhythm after that long stoppage. Brett Ormerod was down and out of the game.
It's an excellent start by Preston. A little bit angry with his players. You'd stood watching at the moment. They're passing the ball around us, not hurting us, but they're keeping the ball away from us. That's what he'll be saying.
Keeping Hulse in his sights, and Claude Davies took a whack then, and he stayed down, and that's a facial injury, so they're going to have to stop play. I don't think he has noticed now, the referee.
Well, I think it's accidental. Rob Hulse, you'll know when he's having a complaint at the referee that it might have been a bit of intentional there, but I think it's a case of Claude head in the back of his head. There's a little look. The elbow comes out and he heads the back of his head. That's exactly what happens. Nothing in it from Rob Hulse. Does look to see where he is, but that's purely accidental.
Well, he's up and okay, Claude Davies, and just as well, Preston having lost Brett Ormerod to injury already. Davies, Preston's Player of the Year, accepts the apology from Hulse.
Superb this season, Claude Davies. A lot of Premiership clubs having a look at him.
Regan. Well, they made sure that Nugent wasn't getting past him. Regan there again. This is Douglas. And now Craney. Eddie Lewis chasing this. And Ty Mears makes sure he goes behind.
Billy Davies is having a real go at the assistant, saying this can't be allowed. There was a little nudge in the first place from Nugent though, so 6 to 1 and half a dozen.
Sharp not pass. David Nugent made his first start in the first leg for 7 weeks after breaking a metatarsal. This is actually a free kick for Preston, and Mick thought wants it taken back at least a millimetre. Well, just get on with it, for goodness sake. No difference there at all.
He's put it further forward.
Nugent challenging Kilgallen. A poor attempt to clear from Gary Kelly, of all people. Who had Nugent bearing down on him in the first leg for the goal. Nothing about it. Craney. Still in for Liam Miller, but not now. Goal kick.
Not really settled, Leeds. Not sure what they're about at the moment. Sure what the pattern is.
Preston finished 4th in the table, which hasn't really been a lucky position in the playoffs. The last team to finish 4th and gain promotion were Charlton in 1998. Ironic applause for the Preston fans as they get a free kick. Has gone to the far side of the box. Ryan O'Neill and Dickio offer an area advantage too. Alexander whipping it in. Nugent was checked by Kilgallen.
Great defending from Kilgallen. Wasn't fazed by the runs at all. Kilgallen just kept his eye on the ball.
Sliced that by follow Nash. Let's get some quick news on Brett Ormerod, that injury. Greg Whelan is down on the touchline.
Thanks very much indeed, Ian. Just got a quick word with the medical staff here at Preston Club. Dr. Jonathan Tobin. It's a suspected fracture of the fibula at the bottom of his right leg. Just as I speak, they're making preparations to take him to the Royal Preston Hospital. Not good news at all for Preston or Brett Ormerod, I'm afraid.
Shocking for Ormerod. Eddie Lewis. Simon Whaley getting involved with him. Lewis still going, but when he makes the challenge, and it's a goal kick. No complaints from Leeds.
Not at all. He was very committed there, Eddie Lewis. There's a lot of tension around, and players not really expressing themselves as well as they'd like in the first opening minutes, but seem to settle the better as Preston.
Dicchio is going to get to this. Kilgallen has gone across with him, but Dicchio's let it run out. Gary Kelly in his 15th season with Leeds. Dicchio, Regan sorts him out, and Dicchio catches Derry. Dicchio was suspended when Millwall went to the FA Cup final, so he might fill the Millennium Stadium owes him one.
You just know that Billy Davies wants him to hold that ball up for them tonight. Keep control of it. Don't let Gregan or Kilgallen nick it away from you.
Leeds without their injured captain Paul Butler, who could make the final if they make it, of course. Although Sean Gregan, a very capable replacement. Frazer Richardson couldn't keep it in. Richardson preferred to David Healy in the starting lineup.
Obviously Kevin didn't explain in his interview that it's a change of tactics, but there's obviously a good reason for that. Is shorten the midfield, keep it a little bit tighter, keep David Healy maybe if they have to chase the game or go and win the game later on.
Dicchio helps it on, but here's Kelly. Paul Davies' clearance, cannoned off Hulse.
It's a nothing game at the moment. I'd be quite happy if you're Kevin Blackwell now, because even though they've had a bit of possession, Preston, they've not hurt Leeds in any way.
Lewis. Clicked on by Marcus Stewart for David Nugent. That could spell danger for Leeds. And offside against Danny Dicchio, the assistant referee waiting to see if he got involved, as they have to do, of course. But it looked like that the flag was always going up.
Well, he's got to stay on side, Danny Dicchio, if he does, because you watch Gary Kelly go chasing the ball and Sean Gregan, which allows him to go off on his own. He's away there now. Look at the position that he's in. He's just got himself offside, but they're all watching the ball, Leeds. If he stays on side and the ball's better, they're in.
Davis won it well. Marcus Stewart on for Paul McKenna. It's gone behind Mears. Morwenny. McKenna seeking out David Nugent. Sean Gregan made sure he didn't find him. McKenna again though. Ball cry from Leeds, but it matters not. Mind you, it is going to be a corner, so it does matter a bit.
It is handball. Sean Gregan, come on, ref. Didn't do us justice, he turned side on. Just watch his shoulder. There you go. McKenna will go across and take the corner.
McKenna delivers. Marcus Stewart with a shove. Well, Marcus Stewart scored in both legs of a playoff semi-final for Sunderland, and he scored in a playoff final for Ipswich. I'll be hoping he can find that sort of touch again. On loan from Bristol City, missed the last few games of the ordinary season with a hamstring. Midway point of a tantalisingly tense first half. Douglas. High into the sky by Davies. This is Whaley on for the injured Ormerod. He essentially sets up Hulse. And now Liam Miller. But in steps Paul McKenna. Dickio pops it on for Whaley. Simon Whaley seemed to dither.
You can't do that with Derry in that position just in front of the back line. He can cover really well in there. He wants people to come inside because that's in his area.
Lewis helping it on. Douglas. Frazer Richardson. It was an excellent try, and it's clutched superbly by Carlo Nash.
Oh, well played, Frazer Richardson. Does really well, the control's good, and it bounces up nicely for him to strike. The goalkeeper makes it look fantastic because he can see it the whole way, feet off the ground. It's one of those, you see it in the papers tomorrow, it looks fantastic, but comfortable.
And Carlo Nash, with 24 clean sheets in the Championship this season. Preston have the best defence, even better than Reading's. Can't argue with that. Ironically, of course, Leeds dried up on the goal-scoring front towards the end of the campaign. Douglas giving away a free kick and not entirely happy with the decision. It's taken quickly by McKenna for Nugent. Leeds with plenty of bodies behind the ball though. Simon Whaley. McKenna near post and Matt Kilcallan there to meet it for Leeds.
Oh, tremendous ball in. Very good player, this lad Whaley. Got a lot of pace about him as well, and look at that for a cross. What have they got in store for Leeds? They showed them a few new ones in the first leg.
Alexander and McKenna inspiring over the corner. Alexander pings it straight in. Back by O'Neill. Dickio. And it drops harmlessly to Sullivan.
Difficult to generate any real power because Rob Hulse is just marking him the whole time, doesn't allow him to get up. Just bounces down. Nugent's not happy with the treatment that he's getting inside the box, but he's standing on top of the goalkeeper at times. Goalkeeper was fortunate at the end to get away with it, but he did start it, Nugent.
Well, David Nugent has deliberately tried to block Neil Sullivan's resulting kick out, and he's getting a stern lecture for doing that from Nick Thorpe. Sullivan getting a free kick as a result. Rob Hulse flicked it on for Eddie Lewis. Lewis, who scored with that fab free kick at Ellen Road, but who played for Preston in last year's playoff final, not getting that much of a warm welcome on his return here.
Get too much of the ball, either bits and pieces. a bit of inexperience there. He's never ever going to get to the ball. His ball was dropping short.
When going to the far side of the box. Dicchio's on the other side. Alexander seeking out Dicchio, which is always a good idea.
It's a foul from Dicchio. He's got his hands on Rob Hulse's shoulders. He's jumping for the ball, and the referee's looking at it, but once again, nothing given.
Leeds did make the point. But it fell on deaf ears. Marcus Stewart skipped away from Frazer Richardson. Now McKenna. Nugent's about to run into Miller.
Front, because he's a 6-footer and he's good in the air. Hulse, maybe Blackwell has him back for set plays, but maybe should put somebody up front, so if they do get the ball Leeds, they can try and find somebody.
Hulse. McKenna lets Marcus Stewart take over. Here's Ty Mears. He's got Whaley ahead of him. Kilgallen spotted the danger and dealt with it admirably.
Terrific defending once again. Reads it really well, Kilgallen.
Stewart, Sean Derry, right in front of the referee. Now that's going to be a yellow card.
To be fair to him, we thought Marcus Stewart was going to turn into him. But Marcus clever enough to see that he was coming.
Derry, who played in the playoff final 2 years ago for Crystal Palace, and they beat West Ham. That's the first booking of the night. So much at stake in these games, so very much. Alexander will pump his free kick in towards Nugent. Sullivan had to react sharp.
I tell you what, the movement is excellent in that box. You just watch them, they're all over the place, Preston players, and they're leaving the space for him to run into. Nugent has to keep his eye on it. We've seen them going before. There's just not enough pace on it, and it makes it a little bit easier for the goalkeeper.
Hulse backing into Newell Mawani. Here's Mears. He ran into Miller, but it's fallen kindly for McKenna. O'Neill. Billy Davies arrives on the scene. He's got Alexander hugging the touchline. They're going to come down this side with Mawani. And now Mears. Seemed to come off the arm of Lewis. It stayed in. And that's a foul by Marcus Stewart on Jonathan Douglas.
Billy's angry once again, saying the ball was out. I'm not sure the whole of the ball was out, Billy.
Not that he's biased or anything. Craney. It's come awkwardly off Frazer Richardson, and the free kick somewhat wasted by Leeds United.
Well, they're here to frustrate at the moment, Leeds. They're not thinking about attacking Preston and creating chances. I'm trying to say to Preston, right, you show us everything you've got. Maybe through it in the first half, and then we might change things in the second.
Multi-ball system in use tonight, so we've got a bit of a wait whilst it's retrieved for Gary Kelly. It's a corner kick.
Set plays are so important. This could change everything for Leeds now.
Billy Lewis getting some right old stick from the Preston fans who used to adore him. Lewis, who left Preston last year for Leeds. His corner is a good one, and Sean Derry with the header. But there's a free kick being given, I think.
Well, it's not Sean Derry who's fouled, but it's a bit of argy-bargy on the goalkeeper, but didn't arrive. Right on cue, gets away from Brian O'Neill. He just seems to stop the header, but the referee had spotted the infringement in the box with Tyrone Mears and Douglas.
You've got to feel for these managers in the playoffs. They go through every sort of emotion. I wonder if these two might just go the distance tonight. There's only 2 points between them come the end of the season. 1-1 draw in the first leg, 0-0 here tonight. Sullivan aiming it towards Hulse. Mulweny having none of him. Well, another championship playoff for you tomorrow night, of course. Watford with their 3-0 lead against Crystal Palace. Sky Sports 1 from 7:30. And then we've got conference playoff action. Grays against Halifax, who are 3-2 up after the first leg. Sky Sports 1 again, 7:30 Wednesday. The Leeds fans showing their support for the Leeds manager, who has been involved in over 100 ins and outs on the player front since he took over. Astonishing, really. That does include loans and kids, but still a heck of a lot. Massive turnover. But they've come out the other side, Leeds, and on course for a Premiership return sooner rather than later.
Kevin tonight will be hoping that the tactics are working. At the moment, the goalkeeper's hardly been worked. Sullivan, frustration for Preston as far as their own attacking ideas are concerned. No, there's nothing to be had. That's the reason maybe why he took Healy out of it, maybe change it around in the second half.
Nugent, Alexander for McKenna. Stewart taking it back off Derry. Now Alexander. He's challenged by Richardson. Sliced by Gregan. This won't just settle for anyone yet, but now Billy Lewis pounces on it. Holding off Mears. Derry. Leeds getting it together. Richardson. Carlo Nash able to claim it.
Better from Leeds all the first little passage of play. 5 passes, which more than they're putting together the whole night. Towards Hulse, jostling again with Mulweny. Drops for Marcus Stewart. And Gregan read that, and read it very well in fact. Now he's got Frazer Richardson to his right. He's looking for Rob Hulse. think that's what Kevin Black was hoping for. If they overcommit themselves, Preston, we can catch them on the break.
Lewis will be off to the World Cup with the USA, but he might have to wait a while to join their squad. Only putting himself in bother. Not too much bother though. Nothing he couldn't get himself out of.
Too much chance for Hulse, Davies and Moweni. Sorry, even if he flicks it on, there's nobody to flick it onto.
Leeds haven't managed to beat Preston in their 3 previous meetings this season. Tonight would be a good night to start doing so. Alexander stopped by Derry. Moweni for McKenna. Here's Claude Davis. Moweni. McKenna.
It's getting harder for Preston to create anything. Defensively, he's a superb.
Dicchio, 4th time is. They've allowed him to deliver. Dicchio! Not far away at all.
Well, they were superb. This time Gregan drops off too deep, which allows Dicchio the opportunity. It's a good ball from Mears. Really good ball. He's got to generate all the pace on the ball himself. Danny Dicchio, he does that. Certainly powers away from his head, but he's always going away from the goal.
Well, he didn't actually manage to score during the course of the league season. Did get a couple of goals at Crystal Palace in the FA Cup. Snapped away by McKenna, but here is Sean Derry. One Sean to another. It's Gregan. Oh dear. The former Preston captain delighting his former fans with that.
Well, going forward, they're not great. They don't have too many options, Leeds, to pass the ball. The way they're set up is to defend. To change defence into attack has been hard for them so far.
It's 45 years since Preston last played in the top flight of English football. He had just retired, actually, when they were relegated. I'm sure the two were connected. He would dearly love to see them back amongst the elite of English football. Sir Tom Finney, one of the game's great players. And one of the game's great gentlemen too. Half-time fast approaching. It has been predictably tight. Nothing we haven't expected really. Which way will this playoff go? Dicchio trying to set something up here for Marcus Stewart. Whaley took it first time, and that's one to forget for the youngster.
I'm sure Kevin Black will be delighted in the way they've set up defensively, and probably said the home side would come and try and batter you for the first 20-30 minutes. That's not happened at all. They've had a lot of the ball but not created too many chances, so game plan working so far.
The playoffs bring a unique atmosphere to grounds like this. Graham Alexander. Derry. Miller. Douglas now for Craney. Craney aiming it towards Frazer Richardson. Handball shout from Preston, the assistant referee not interested. Kelly's cross. Away by Mulwenny. Whaley up towards Dickio, but it doesn't stick with him, it goes right underneath him.
What a ping that is. Just hold it up.
Hulse. Away by McKenna. Now Marcus Stewart. Over towards Graham Alexander. Well, there should be a few minutes added on, of course, in this first half. Brett Ormerod was down for a long time early on and was eventually stretchered off. With a suspected fractured fibia. Dickio. Nugent. Whaley. Two former Bury players involved in this build-up. Nugent and Whaley. Whaley might get a shot away here. Sean Derry, though, screened it. That's his job. Yule Mulwenny. Lord Davis. Headed out by Craney. Oh, it's not quite going to go out, actually. Whaley. Whaley for Brian O'Neill, who gets a second opportunity in Kilgallen, blocks it both times. Alexander now. Marcus Stewart. Can he make it happen for Preston? It's Danny Dickio. Miller made a challenge. Away by Kilgallen. And helped on its way by Miller.
They're having a pop at each other, Kilgallen and Nugent in the box. Really having a go at each other. Sullivan's got involved. Nugent felt he was fouled by Kilgallen when that ball went into the box and reacted accordingly.
Well, the assistant referee, Bob Pollock, coming across to talk to Mick Thorpe about what went on.
Well, he had his arm over his shoulder, Kilgallen, but it was nothing more than that. Headed the ball cleanly. Nugent reacted.
Well, we're in 3 minutes of stoppage time at the moment, although there might be a bit more than that at this rate. Mick Thorpe summoning Nugent and no doubt Kilgallen to him. Might just be a warning, you suspect. Oh no. He is reaching for his card.
Well, there was a bit more than that. There was a bit more than pushing and shoving involved in that incident.
So Matt Kilgallen and David Nugent both have to tread carefully now, and this is why.
Just watch Kilgallen. The arm comes across, he heads the ball there, and then it all kicks off from there on. Just watch pushing and shoving. A little bit of afters. Sullivan gets involved. Gary Kelly just pushes him away.
Well, you've got to have a bit of feistiness. It's the playoffs after all. Kilgallen and Nugent joining Sean Derry in the book. Craney. Ball won't come down at the moment. Did eventually for Alexander. Gary Kelly covering. Free kick here for Preston. coming to the end of the 3 minutes added on, although Ormerod was down for 5 minutes, so referee not playing the full amount. Alexander. That should be Neil Sullivan's. It is.
It just goes to show they're getting much frustrated now, Preston, not being able to find a way through with the ball at the feet. Just going that little bit longer now, trying to get Dicchio with a header maybe. Nugent getting the bits and pieces off that.
Nugent. The first half drawing to a close, and Preston looking to make their mark with Alexander. Mears got the better of Lewis. Now Douglas. Could be a chance for Leeds to break out here in more when he stumbled, but then got up. Dreadful throw from Brainy. He's managed to throw it out.
Just goes with what's been going on attacking wise from Leeds, but you've got to admire the defensive qualities. Those have been very good. Frustrated Preston. Preston, the home side, will be thinking, well, we can play a lot better than this. Billy Davies will be thinking that anyway, and Leeds have not allowed him that.
Well, you can never really expect classic football in these games. There's just too much at stake, but they are fantastically tense. A nightmare though at times if you happen to be involved in them, and everybody is very involved in them here. Nothing separating them so far, but at some point tonight they are going to have to be separated, whatever it takes. Half time at Deepdale. It's Preston North End 0, Leeds United 0.
Yes, as we thought, very difficult to get anything.
Sub for Ghana last week in a friendly they played against Stuttgart, club side in Germany. So as you thought, Chris, it is Patrick Adjumang for Marcus Street. You should have been a manager.
It's just thrust, isn't it, really? They need some pace, and they need to cause that Leeds defence, which has been very, very comfortable, a few more problems. Marcus has done okay, and Billy will be quite happy with him, and he'll say, look, it's no reflection on you, but I need to change things around. And Aguiman, with his pace and his power, gives him another option.
So Adjumang is on for Stewart, and Preston North End are at last about to start the second half after a 25-minute delay due to a power cut. Second half at Deepdale. And Brian O'Neill immediately lobbing one towards Neil Sullivan.
It's a three-pronged attack again. Aguiman will be on the left-hand side of Dicchio and Nugent on the right. Just Simon Worley just goes in the middle with Brian O'Neill and McKenna.
Preston, of course, lost Brett Ormerod sadly with a broken leg early in the game. Whaley was his replacement. They've now used a second sub in Adjumang. Frazer Richardson is down for Leeds, and Mick Thorpe will stop play.
He's got a bang on the head, Fraser, when he stooped to head that ball with Brian O'Neill. Sticks his head in. There he goes, bang, hits the head of Brian O'Neill's and feels it straight away. But two halves of football are never, or very rarely I should say, never say never, very rarely the same. So I think we're in for a decent second half.
Well, it could be a one-goal game, one goal wins it, or it could go to extra time, or it could go to penalties, which will be about 2 in the morning at this rate. Richardson returning. Preston only lost 6 out of 46 league matches during the course of the season. They did draw quite a few, 20 in fact. So hard to beat. Here's Nugent, who scored in the first leg. And Ellen Rowe looking to turn provider this time. It comes to McKenna. Will be offside against Nugent.
That's a positive start. Just need a bit more quality on the cross from Nugent.
Leeds United relegated a couple of years ago. Not too long after they were playing in Champions League semi-finals. It was a dramatic fall from grace, but could they be returning to the Premiership this year?
Well, they're keeping the same shape. They're going to grind this out if they get a result tonight, that's for sure.
Nugent for Whaley. Nugent wants it again, and he has it again. Trying to put Patrick Adjemang inside. He is quick.
Well, it was the obvious ball. Just not switched onto it, Adjemang.
Craney. Hulse made a game effort to keep that ball into Leeds, and they have a throw-in out of it.
He works so hard, doesn't he? And he doesn't get the service he deserves at times. On furrow most of the time when he plays for Leeds.
Craney. Not the best of balls to man they used to play with at Celtic. Liam Miller. Preston beaten in 2 playoff finals at this level, and beaten in 1 playoff final at a lower level. Will their time ever come? Lewis has been clobbered.
Tyrone Williams probably caused himself more damage than Lewis that time.
Mears has had his fair share of injuries, so much so that he took the Mears off the back of his shirt and put tie on it as a superstition, and he has got through this season relatively injury-free. Kilgallen's free kick, away by Brian O'Neill and then by Simon Whaley. Here's Douglas, who's spent the season on loan from Blackburn Rovers. Richardson, Hulse didn't get there. Dicchio has been tripped by Gregan, and that's going to be a yellow card for the man who used to be captain of Preston.
You can't have a little foul and a tussle these days without other players getting involved. Let Dicchio get the other side and dealt with him. That's why he's getting a yellow. Go.
He is the 3rd Leeds player to be booked, Sean Gregan. Kilgallen and Derry, the other 2. Adjemang. Paul Davis. Up towards Danny Dicchio. It's away by Gregan. O'Neill. Caught in possession by Liam Miller. Miller finds Craney. Lewis with a touch. Rescued by Douglas.
And already Kevin Blackwell said to his players at half-time, let's get a few more people forward. Let's cause them some problems, and it's making them look a better side already.
Yes, the first half probably went according to plan. So Leeds frustrated Preston. Agyemang. He's cut inside Agyemang, held up but not for long by Kelly. Agyemang now finding Nugent, and Stephen Craney with an excellent challenge.
It's a brilliant challenge. Stood his ground and nicked it away from him.
Here's Whaley, foul after he lost it on Douglas.
Gets a thumbs up from his teammates here. If you let him pass, we are in trouble, but not a chance. Just bides his time, waits for his chance to nick it.
Leeds goal shy of late, just 4 in their last 9 matches. Dickio helps it on to Simon Whaley. Matt Kilgallen sorts it out for Leeds. Preston querying a possible back pass.
He might have come off his knee through Kilgallen when he controlled it.
Agyemang tangling with Kelly. Gary Kelly named in the PFA Championship Team of the Season. Also won that honour in the Premiership a few years back.
Tremendous servant for Leeds.
Mawene. Nugent. Mears outside him. Whaley ahead of Mears. Kilgallen has gone over there with him. And Whaley just ran out of room.
Well, it's already a better game than it was in the first half. People are taking more chances. If we don't take risks, we can't get goals. That's what most managers probably said at half-time.
Sullivan's kick aimed towards Hulse. Craney. By the end of this evening, one of these teams will have booked a place in the Championship playoff final. It's proving to be an arduous task, though, for both. Here's Douglas. Miller now setting it up for Richardson, and it came off Graham Alexander.
He's got to deliver. When you get that space and time, you've got to deliver. He's got time to look up in the box. He's set up. Look at the. He can look through the middle. He's just got to lift that over the first man, but he can't do it.
Well, a corner kick in front of the visiting Leeds fans. Here it comes, though it doesn't come from Lewis, because the referee wants a word with Sean Derry and also with Brian O'Neill.
He's had a good look round the box. The referee seeing what's going on, the pushing, the shoving.
Gary Kelly's corner. It's a good one, and it's in from Rob Hulse. Leeds lead. They are ahead in this massive match.
Oh, what a tremendous run. What a great run, and what a finish from Rob Hulse. Mawene just stood and watched. They've been so good on set plays, Preston themselves. They've been caught out by one with Leeds. He does a brilliant run round the back, round the sides. He's away from his man now. Mawene stood there. He can only stand and watch, and what a header. Just cushioning it to that far post. Nobody on the far post. Nobody on the near for Preston. But the movement is excellent. Just look at the two centre-backs. They're watching. They're standing. And they're seeing Leeds go in front.
Well, his former club West Brom were relegated to the Championship. Wouldn't it be ironic if Rob Hulse was to bypass them and go up with Leeds United? So far, it has gone according to plan for Kevin Blackwell's side. And what will Preston North End's response be? A major setback for Billy Davies.
Certainly be more adventurous Leeds in the second half. How important set plays are.
Frazer Richardson helps it on. It's away by Alexander. It's a throw for Leeds, who have the advantage. They've scored first in this second leg. And you can see what it means to the supporters of this famous club. One of the biggest clubs in English football still, eager to return to the Premiership. And they've got another free kick now, a foul by McKenna on Miller. Leeds fans relishing their trip from Yorkshire to Lancashire. It's going to be Eddie Lewis to float this one in, and Danny Dichio back there helping out Preston's cause. Lord Davis, powered away by Gregan, ironically a former Preston player, a former Preston captain. They have a few former Preston players in their ranks. Well, Leeds came back and equalised in the first leg. Can Preston North End do the same in the second leg? McKenna. Yul Maweni. Offside. James Mears.
That's a tight call. Can't see the offside myself. Fantastic spot from the assistant if it is. No chance, not a chance, not even near, not even close.
Approaching the hour mark.
Might have shaken them up, Preston there. Leeds certainly a lot better in the second half.
Stephen Craney shown a yellow card, the fourth Leeds player to be booked.
Can we be for dissent?
Half an hour to go, maybe. Definitely, if Preston can't find a way to goal. Kevin Blackwell has presided over troubled times at Leeds, where the expectations are always immense, and that can make it so hard, even after what they've been through. Around 100 ins and outs on the player front in 2 years is astonishing. Could Leeds be heading to Cardiff? Hulse in the hunt again, and Frazer Richardson, it's in! He has scored! It is 2-0 to Leeds, and a place in the playoff final is beckoning now.
Ah, well done, Rob Hulse. Absolutely superb from Rob Hulse. Those two centre-backs who looked so comfortable in the first leg and so comfortable in the first 45 minutes have now just been shaken up. They're not doing their job, and when he's there, he's close, he lets him get away from him, he tucks it through to Frazer Richardson. Frazer's put it towards the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper does absolutely magnificent to get across, but what he does when he gets it in his hands, it fumbles, it just comes out the side door, it lands in the back of the net. Richardson's away, he doesn't care how it went in, as long as it went in, and Leeds have got a 2-goal cushion.
A despairing dive from Carlo Nash. It wasn't enough, and Frazer Richardson heads towards the Leeds fans immediately. 2 quick goals, and Leeds are in command of this playoff. And I bet they are making a right old racket around the pubs and clubs of West Yorkshire right now. There is a long way back here for Preston North End.
Well, we talked about Aidy Boothroyd's tactics on Saturday at Crystal Palace. Kevin Blackwell frustrate him in the first 45, then release a little bit more energy in the second half. And that's how it's happened.
2 goals in 5 minutes for Leeds United. A bitter blow for Preston North End and for Billy Davies. They missed out in the playoff final last season against West Ham. They dearly wanted to go back and make amends for that, but they might not be going back. Leeds United could well be heading to the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff on Sunday, May the 21st. Oh, Hulse has scored a sore one there. He scored the first, he set up the second. He's Rob Hulse.
He'll be fine. Don't worry about that. He doesn't want to go up now. Not a chance. It's one of those ones when the boot comes across, which causes a lot of injuries. Didn't quite catch. Full on. Test of character now for Preston.
Mulwenny. Well, Preston are one heck of a spirited side. They need to show that now. Simon Whaley drags it wide.
He should play it wide. But Tyrone Mears stood alone on his right hand side, but took on the shot. Well, there's still a long way to go. 30 minutes yet before you start crying.
The playoffs can do this to you. Watford, of course, firmly in the driving seat in the other semi-final, and Aidy Boothroyd used to work with Kevin Blackwell at Leeds. McKenna for Ajerman. Preston desperate for a quick response to those 2 quick Leeds goals. Mulwenny. Nugent. He's got a corner.
Well, it was a set play that turned it in Leeds' favour. I'm sure Kevin Blackwell will be screaming at them now to make sure that they pick up their players and know what's going to happen.
Hey, Preston fans doing their best to try and rouse their team. McKenna takes it, and Claude Davis's header is going over and out.
Well, that's a chance. It's more than a good chance for Claude Davies. He's got heads this right on the full. Comes in behind Gregan.
Preston have got that sinking feeling. But wouldn't Ken Bates love to be mixing it in the Premiership again? The Millennium Stadium will be his kind of place if Leeds make it to the final. I'm sure Ken has already thought of himself striding back into Stamford Bridge next season.
He'll milk it to the full, won't he?
Alexander takes it, Dickio's flick on. Preston in urgent need of inspiration.
No more fancy football, just try and knock it towards this fella. See if we can get a few bits. Nugent, I'm sure, will come off the wide now and just play alongside him.
Douglas. Can't pick that up now, Carlo Nash. Alexander got a touch. Well, it's all worked out perfectly for Kevin Blackwell.
Well, he won't be counting his chickens just yet.
Gary Kelly takes it. Hulse in the thick of it again. He won it again. Liam Miller won't be allowed to latch onto it though. He was carefully watched by Paul McKenna.
Well, how many headers has Hulse won in the whole tie? Not that many, but they've all been crucial now in this second half. These two centre-backs rocking from the Hulse power.
Good one, that. Graham Alexander. Nugent. Whaley. Well, Nugent will latch onto it. He's been caught by Stephen Craney. And Craney is going to be off. He's on a yellow card. And Leeds are going to be down to 10 men. Stephen Craney sent off.
You've got to feel sorry for Stephen Craney. I have to say, you've got to feel sorry. Because he's been on a yellow. But what happens is Nugent's too quick for him. That's the thing, that's the key. So Nugent gets a toe to the ball first, but because he's heading off through, that's the reason why the referee has to make that decision. You normally see a yellow card when that type of challenge goes in, and the referee, having already given him a yellow, has to respond with a second.
Well, he gave him a yellow not so long ago for kicking the ball away, and that proved to be a costly yellow. And Liam Miller's protests are going to earn him a yellow card as well by the look of it. There'll be 5 bookings for Leeds and 1 sending off. Stephen Craney off down the tunnel. Liam Miller booked. So not so straightforward now for Leeds. Down to 10 men and facing this free kick.
Yeah, that's right. It's in a way, you know, it's hard to play against 10 men. So at the end of the day, it might be a godsend, but time will tell.
So Stephen Craney would miss the playoff final if Leeds go through, as it looks like they might at the moment, although Preston with a great opportunity here to respond. Paul McKenna fancies it. It's a massive moment this for Preston North End. 2-0 down in this playoff. They need something to happen here. They need it so badly. Paul McKenna! It was heading in until Neil Sullivan got across.
Yeah, well watched by the goalkeeper. Quick feet across his goal. Goes with his right hand rather than his left. Just he's comfortable with the position that he's in.
20 minutes to go. Preston probing against the 10 men of Leeds. Alexander's corner. Claude Davis clambering above Gregan but unable to direct it goalwards.
It's the Rob Hulse show in the second half. First one with a header, the run and away from his marker. Look at the celebs on the bench. And the second one, the provider for Richardson. Richard hits the keeper. In it goes, and Blackie quietly enjoys that second one.
He's not going to get carried away just yet. In the playoffs, you can only get carried away, really, when that full-time whistle goes. "20 minutes for Preston to save themselves. One more Wendy with a dreadful ball straight at Hulse. It bounced off him though. And Claude Davis has found Mears and he's got away from Lewis. Mears just tickled off his toes by Richardson.
Excellent defending when you've got somebody running at your pace. At the pace of Tyrone Mears, you have to be careful, and he was.
McKenna's corner is poor, and Eddie Lewis, former Preston player, one of 4 former Preston players in the Leeds ranks, happy to meet that. Alexander Sullivan didn't get too near it, but was fouled and hurt. Oh, now they have no sub-keeper, remember, on the bench.
Well, it's Brian O'Neill who actually fouls him. Brian O'Neill turns his back and lets him roll over him. Just watch him turn his back there, you go, so he can roll back down onto the ground, and he might be making a meal of it, but he does get contact with the ground with that right shoulder.
Looks like he'll be alright, and from Leeds' point of view he needs to be, really, because Kevin Blackwell decided not to have a sub-keeper on the bench, and Ian Bennett. Never guessed he'd work with Neil Warnock for so long, would you?
He's learned. This is a game we need to win. We'll take a chance with just having the one goalie.
Ian Bennett not involved on the bench. Nugent just going to skip away from Ajamang, and Gary Kelly will cover for Leeds.
It's great full-back covering. Certainly that back four of Leeds tonight has been excellent.
The second half of this game delayed by around 25 minutes due to a power cut. The lights came back on around Preston, but in another sense they could be going out again if Preston fail here. Leeds have bided their time tonight and took their chances when they came in the second half. 2 in 5 minutes from Rob Hulse and Frazer Richardson. Dicchio, Newton takes over, but Derry is there. Never far away from any Preston player planning a raid, Sean Derry. McKenna. Sean Gregan clears.
There's a big determination in that Leeds defence now just to get the ball away. No nonsense, Gregan, just get it out.
Gregan, who played in the playoff final for Preston, could be about to play in one for Leeds, although skipper Paul Butler might make the final. If Leeds do, could be a big decision to be made there. McKenna into Dicchio. So Leeds have got to see this game out with 10 men after Craney's red card.
Now they're comfortable at the moment. Defending manfully. Not too much of a threat from Preston. Really made a difference just having 10 men at all.
Yul Mulweny. Here's Brian O'Neill. Nugent. Here's Ajamang. It's Nugent. Oh.
Great defending. He actually a great defending from Kilgallen, and the referee's given a goal kick. Absolutely shocking. Brilliant defending from Kilgallen that takes that ball up and over the bar. Wonderful movement from Nugent just to create the space to get the strike in. Watch this, he gets the strike in, and look at that, what defending that is. That could have been heading to the bottom corner. Superb stuff.
He's had some season, Matt Kilgallen.
Every one of the Leeds players turned back to defend the corner. That should have been a clue for the ref.
Yeah, terrible decision, and Preston really needed that corner. Well, Billy Davies has done so well to get Preston to the playoffs again on extremely limited resources, but that will be no consolation. No consolation at all. And Leeds are going to bring on one of the several players that Billy Davies has been forced to sell. Richard Cresswell, in fact, there's David Healy alongside of him, most of them sold to Leeds United. Oh, Davis just about hung in there as Liam Miller came towards him. Cresswell is going to replace Hulse shortly. Here's Agyemang. Snuffed out by Douglas, but it comes to McKenna. Mulwenny. McKenna. Dickio. No takers, edge of area for Preston.
It's hit and hope football. Preston. Hope somebody can get on the end of a knockdown.
Alexander. Agyemang. Kilgallen's going to clear that. Rob Hulse is very much on his own. This could be a little bit awkward though for Claude Davis. Hulse using his strength. And Claude Davis has got the free kick. Oh dear, Mulwenny gives it straight to Hulse. I do believe that was a possible attempt on goal.
That's amazing. What's the referee doing? First, Hulse fouls Davis, and then Davis fouls Hulse. Hulse handles the ball because he's expecting the referee to blow a whistle, and he gives a free kick against him.
Well, this is where it hurts for Preston. Richard Cresswell, as I mentioned, one of the players that they had to sell for financial reasons. Played in 2 playoff finals for Preston. He's coming on for Leeds. Rob Hulse has done his job tonight, scored 1, made the other. And that's what the Leeds fans think of him.
Well, he had to lead the line for the first 45 minutes alone. Nothing was happening in and around him. Worked his socks off. In the second half, when he had a few more people around him, he's been able to perform a bit better. And the goals and the setup for Richardson, the icing on the cake.
Well, it would hurt Preston if Richard Cresswell was to score and rub it in. Cresswell, rather like David Nugent, making an earlier than expected return from injury after a knee operation. Agyemang somehow managed to keep that reasonably within him. Here's Mulwenny. Preston gambling, they need a goal. Mulwenny's centre high into the air from Kilgannon. Not much distance on it though, but Gregan gets a bit more. Alexander for McKenna. It's Danny Dickio! And Sullivan has to tip it over.
It's a great ball from McKenna. Wonderful vision just to see Dickio stood on his own in behind Kilgallen. Was never going in, but Sullivan could take no chances.
Graham Alexander will ping this corner in, but not before. The referee has a few words, this time with Richard Cresswell, who's certainly got into the action. Preston could do with Mick Thorpe speeding this lecture up. He's going to get a yellow card actually. It's going to be the 5th Leeds player to be booked. Tell you what, he's only been on a few seconds and he's got a yellow card. Now we have the corner. Graham Alexander, it's swirled out, it's not going to count. The linesman has put his flag up and it's swirled out before it was put in. And it's going to be ruled out, I think, by the referee.
Well, the assistant on the far side has given a foul on the goalkeeper, I think.
His flag went up straight away and it looked like the ball maybe swirled out, and Mick Thorpe having to go across and have words with Michael Oliver. His flag went up as the ball carried towards the box. It had gone out, yeah. It's a free kick for Leeds, a goal kick for Leeds.
Well, let's have a look. Does it or doesn't it? Well, it's not easy for us to tell. That looks as if it's bending all the way in rather than the other way. It's a magnificent header. Look at the leap in there from Mears. He gets head and shoulders above anybody else and puts it in there. What a call that is. Didn't look a correct call to me, but he's in a better position than I am.
Michael Oliver, the man who made the call, and it's still 2-0 to Leeds, and there is no way back just yet for Billy Davies.
Well, I think that's telling you something, but it's not their night, because it didn't look out to me, but like I said, I'm not in that position.
Offside against Mears this time, and that assistant referee incurring the wrath of the Preston fans.
So quickly is that you'd be surprised if he has got himself off. No, he's not off again. Look at the man in the middle.
There have been some big decisions in the playoff games we've seen so far that haven't been necessarily correct. Key moments in all the games as well. Michael Oliver was certainly convinced that that had swirled out. He would have had the best view in the house. Leeds United are 7 minutes plus stoppage time away from the playoff final. Douglas. Carlo Nash is going to smother it. Oh, he's lost it, but the free kick's going to be given. Oh, and a bit of reaction there from Nash on Cresswell. And there's more here to sort out for Mick Thorpe. Carlo Nash has now gone down, and it's all kicking off.
Well, he's fishing for a ball, Richard Cresswell, that's in the goalkeeper's hands. He's just had a yellow card. It'll be interesting to see whether the referee gives him a second one.
Well, Leeds have already lost Stephen Craney to a red card in this game, and he'll be out of the final.
Get out of the way, Richard Cresswell. Go away from the situation.
Well, Mick Thorpe with plenty to sort out, because Carlo Nash had a bite back at Cresswell. Of course, all this is killing time. Well, all the officials are in there. And they're all going to have a word about what happened here. He's reaching for his pocket again, Mick Thorpe.
I think the assistant from this side is telling him it's Cresswell you should be looking for.
Richard Cresswell, who's gone a long way away from the scene of the apparent crime. But Cresswell, who was booked, looks like Jonathan Douglas is going to get a yellow card.
Leeds will take that. Wait.
He hasn't finished yet, and if he is going to Richard Cresswell, no, he isn't. He's not quite ready to get going yet. He wants to work with somebody. It's Patrick Agyemang, is it? Or Gary Kelly? Well, I hope Mick Thorpe knows what's going on, because I don't think many others are too sure, by the way. So Cresswell and Nash get nothing. And Kelly and Douglas are booked, and Leeds heading towards a fine for the number of bookings tonight. Oh, hum. Make that 8 Leeds players book. Here's Kelly. Agyemang chasing. That's Nearly hit Chris Kamara, that did.
Good strike from Gregan.
Leeds are going to bring on Steve Stone for the closing stages. Eddie Lewis is going off. Let's have another look at this, Chris.
Well, none of the people who were involved got it, but watch Creswell here. He's trying to fish for a ball that's not his. It's in the goalkeeper's hands, and that's what causes all the problems. They're not happy with him at all. Douglas doesn't do a lot, just gets ushered away. Pick a number, wasn't it, from the referee and the assistant?
Certainly was that. Morwenny now launching it, and he's off Kilgallen for a corner. And if Preston are going to have any chance of a rescue act here, they're going to have to score from this corner, surely. Preston's need is massive. Alexander's corner. Sullivan, though, able to take it easily.
Safe pair of hands.
So we've had yellow cards galore and a red for Stephen Craney, who will miss the playoff final. Sean Gregan's aiming for you again.
No nonsense. No time to try and start playing, keeping the ball in play. Let's just regroup, get it out of the way.
Alexander. Sean Derry, who played in the playoff final for Crystal Palace 2 years ago and was a winner then against West Ham, could well be going back there with Leeds. Here's Morwenny. Morwenny. And the free kick's been given for offside against Danny Dichio. Some really tight offside calls going against Preston tonight. We're in the last minute. And there will be wild celebrations in that particular corner of the ground soon, and across West Yorkshire too. Leeds United, after a tough few years, could be heading back to the big time. For the Preston fans, there is nothing but abject despair at the moment. They are staring playoff defeat in the face, and even though they've done well to get here, that doesn't matter at all when you lose these kind of games.
No, not at all. They've had a brilliant season, but just failed at the final hurdle. As far as Leeds are concerned, they could fill the Millennium Stadium twice over.
There's going to be 6 minutes of added on time here. It's been a long old night, but with a power cut along the way, and Preston will be encouraged by that because they have a free kick. Alexander whipping it in. Sullivan has got to grips with it and kept his grip on it, and maybe kept Leeds' grip on a place in the final.
Well done once again. Come and take charge. He did spill it, but picked it up on the second attempt.
Ajerman. Alexander's throw to McKenna. It's going to roll away from Patrick Ajerman, and this playoff semi-final is rolling away from Leeds, from Preston. It's a time for tears now for those of a Preston persuasion.
Yeah, now is the time, because you are running out of time, and to be honest, you can't really see a way back for them. The disallowed goal was the one.
Ajerman. Alexander. Simon Whaley. Preston's throw.
Defended really well, Leeds, throughout the whole of the game.
McKenna. Cresswell, who played in the playoff final last year for Preston, ironically. Now he'll be involved with Leeds United, who will play either Watford or Crystal Palace, it seems, at the Millennium Stadium. Alexander launching it. Handball shout. No, says the referee, Mick Thorpe.
It might have bounced off Frazer Richardson's right arm. I think it's down by his side, so there's no attempt. What's the bounce? It's off his chest anyway. His arm is out, but definitely off his chest.
Preston North End's excellent season is coming to an end. Just 6 defeats in 46 league matches. But unlike last year, they've been unable to find a way to the playoff final. It looks like they will take their place in the Championship again next season. A Championship that has a harder than ever look about it, with 3 decent teams coming down and several clubs resurgent. Here's O'Neill. Still 3 minutes of added on time remaining. Mawene. And Mears' header will drop for Sullivan. He drops himself.
He's hardly had to work tonight, apart from coming for a few crosses. Blackpool will point to that. We were never under that much threat.
McKenna. It's Sean Gregan who clears it.
He's been superb in the last 15 minutes, Gregan. No nonsense defending. Don't take any chances, just clear the ball.
The man who was a mainstay of David Moyes' team that started the revival in Preston North End's fortunes, really. But it looks like their 45-year wait for top-flight football will continue. Leeds United are less than a couple of minutes away from a massive celebration. Here's Nugent, though. And Leeds defending doggedly. Alexander. Lord Davies is up there now. Kilgallen took one in the face. It's drilled back in and it's diverted en route, but Sullivan there again.
Actually hits Claude Davis. There's that much power on the shot. He can't move his feet quick enough to do anything with it.
We are Leeds, we are Leeds, we are Leeds is the cry around Detail, but the Preston fans are applauding as well. Their team have given them so much again this season.
Cresswell
is getting a second yellow card and he's sent off, and Richard Cresswell will miss the playoff final along with Stephen Craney.
What an idiot, he just kicked the ball away. What an idiot. Richard Cresswell, your team are cruising, you don't have to waste any more time. It's a stupid thing to do.
Well, Leeds ending the match with 9 men, and Craney and Cresswell won't play a part in the final. And Kevin Blackwell cannot believe that. It's inexplicable, it's ridiculous, it's daft.
Well, players do stupid things.
Leeds are going to win with 9 men come the end of it. What an extraordinary night of playoff drama. The team that are going to finish the match with 9 men are going to go through to the final. Craney sent off, Cresswell sent off against his former club. And the 6 minutes of stoppage time are up. Dickie-O.
Just looking at the replay there for poor old Richard Cresswell. He actually just let the ball bounce off his foot rather than actually kick it away. So you do feel for him.
Well, you suspect the whistle's going to go when this goal kick is taken. Kevin Blackwell is waiting to hear it. They all are around that Leeds bench. Preston's season ends here. Leeds United are through to the playoff final. Kevin Blackwell has taken them to the Millennium Stadium. They sure have had some troubled times in recent years, but after the pain, maybe the gain. They've overcome a mighty challenge from Preston, but you have to dig deep in these playoff matches. Leeds move onwards and maybe upwards, marching on together. They might be marching up together, but they'll have